Joining us now in the studio is Michael Graham and Bruce Landsberg with the NTSB. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Well, thank you.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
us.
So you are here to promote the NTSB's Most Wanted list, and you have two specific items on that list. So we'll start with you, Michael, because you have a roundtable that is taking place tomorrow. So talk to me a little bit about how those two go together.
You bet. Well, tomorrow morning, we're down here promoting safety management systems for basically all business operators, but mainly revenue passenger carrying operations. We know it's very effective, and we want to make sure that we verify the effectiveness of the safety management system also by promoting it. A lot of operators out there do not have safety management systems, and in many of our investigations over the years at the NTSB, we continue to see accidents of operators that don't identify risk and hazards to their flight operation. And unfortunately, when we show up, it's usually because an accident's happened and we're there to investigate it. So we've been promoting it. We've asked the FAA to require it of these operators, and it's an effective way of identifying these things, and they can mitigate those risks of the accident, and we don't have to show up. My roundtable is going to focus specifically on scalability for the smaller operator. There's a lot of operators out there, that accidents that we go to, that are much smaller operation. In the course of the investigation, we determined that a safety management system, if they had it, it would have been able to, it might have been able to, I guess is a better word, to basically identify that hazard or risk that eventually caused the accident. So we recommend that to the operators, and we know a lot of them always say, well, it's too burdensome, it's too costly, and that's a myth out there that we need to overcome. So how do you do an SMS? And I'll kind of give that over to Bruce here.
So we are going to follow Michael's program. We're going to be on at 11 o'clock tomorrow until 1 o'clock dealing with flight data monitoring. So if you're going to have a system, if you don't have data to be able to capture what the pilots are doing, what the aircraft is doing, it makes it tough to manage. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And again, all of these systems have been designed largely for the airlines and the big operators, and we're here to talk about how you can shrink those things down to the much smaller operation. And one of the biggest benefits of this for us, unfortunately, as I say, we get involved at the back end after there's been a crash. Well, it makes our job much easier to look at it from a reactive perspective. But from a preventive perspective, if you can say, okay, this particular pilot is having difficulty. One of the areas that we were talking about was runway excursions, where aircraft go off the end of the runway or off the side. Well, if you're doing things the right way, that tends to not happen. If somebody is continually too fast and too high on an approach, the flight data monitoring system is looking and saying, oh, look at this, he's outside of the parameters, or she's outside the parameters, and that is sent back, and they analyze it and say, okay, this individual is having some difficulty. Let's get them some additional training. And one of the key things on all of this, whether it's flight data monitoring or SMS, is being non-punitive about this. So just because somebody makes a mistake doesn't mean that they're going to get terminated or fired or anything like that. It's about to say, okay, you're here because we thought you were good, we're going to make you better, and we're going to show you how to do this better.
Absolutely. Non-punitive culture is the big thing. And when you talk about SMS, you got to have, there's four things, there's four pillars there. There's policies and procedures, risk management, safety assurance, which is a lot of what Bruce was talking about, and safety promotion. And the way I look at safety promotion is basically safety culture. Everybody has a culture at their operation. Sometimes it's punitive, sometimes it's not such a good culture. Matter of fact, some of our investigative reports, we've come out and said that the culture at that operation was actually toxic. And that's probably not a good place to work, and it's not going to be able to identify those issues that would have caused the accident that we were looking at while we were there. So we really encourage everybody to come out tomorrow, and you know, we make recommendations from what we see. We tend to be generic because we leave it up to either the FAA to make the regulation, but we really encourage that operators, large and small, go ahead and adapt their programs or institute these programs voluntarily. So that's what we hope to see, and we're also all ears. We're there to work with everybody and our stakeholders.
That's great. Both of you, could you tell us again when and where your roundtables are taking place?
You bet. Mine begins at 9:30 in the morning in the Sierra 210 A, B, and C ballroom.
And we follow along at 11 o'clock, Sierra 210, A, B, and C.
Wonderful.
So we think we've got some actual operators that have actually done this, small operators. So it's not just us talking in a hypothetical sense. These are people that are going to be able to tell you how they managed to do it and to make it affordable and usable in their operations to make their flying safer.
Important discussions that'll be taking place tomorrow for sure. Thank you both for coming by and for seeing us and having this conversation. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. If you want to get information on that as well, be sure to get the app and you can find out where those roundtables discussions are happening as well. We'll be right back.